and then I'll just be letting people in as they come in.
Okay.
All right, so I made you co-host.
Okay.
Until I finish up. Well, thank you again, everyone, for for joining this evening, whether you are a panelist or whether you are joining as an attendee. For those on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. This is the second discussion, the second panel for National Black Business Month. The first panel we had 4 chambers: the Liberian Chamber, the Jamaican Chamber. We had the Black chambers, and what was the other chamber?
You said Liberian,
Liberia, the Black chambers,
represented from
Jamaica,
Haiti and Jamaica,
and the Haitian, yeah, right, the Haitian chamber, discussing how each chamber is working within the community to grow businesses, launch businesses, scale, and are working with entrepreneurs, not only here in Atlanta, but back in their respective countries as well. This is all part of growing the Black economy and putting steps in place, putting processes in place for us as a broader community to collaborate, work together, and to really leverage one another and to see how we can come together and really make an impact in growing our economic base as African Americans, Black people in this country. So I'm going to go ahead and get started again, and thank you all for being on here tonight. Good evening and welcome to Building the Black Economy Part 2. The second and final panel discussion on Black economic growth. Tonight's panel discussion is in observance of National Black Business Month. We are honored to have 5 exceptional African-American businesses and business and thought leaders on our panel tonight. I wish to personally thank Marc Hamm, CEO of Team Hamm Group, Todd Rose of New Black Wall Street Market, Samuel Richmond, CEO of Nvestfit, Dr. Malcolm Muhammad, Vice President of Engagement and Outcomes at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship, also known as RICE, and Renee Walters, who will join us as eventually founder and president of the Future Georgia Initiative 2020 LLC project. Our engagement tonight will be thought-provoking with an intentional look at what we must do to narrow and close the wealth gap for Blacks in America through entrepreneurship innovation, growing scalable businesses, building healthy and sustainable collaborations among our Black business community, connecting and engaging the African entrepreneurship and small business ecosystem by encouraging direct bilateral trade with Africa, growing the circulation of the Black dollar in our communities, improving the benefit from our almost $1.6 trillion in spending power of the Black disposable dollar, establishing and scaling more businesses with employees, invest in manufacturing businesses, and many other topics on growing the Black economy. Currently, whites have and are growing wealth in America when looking at all assets at almost 15 times greater than Blacks. Black disposable dollars are circulating in the Black community for only 6 hours before being spent elsewhere. For all minority groups, this is the lowest compared to 3 to 5 days of circulation in the Latino community, 20 days of circulation in the Jewish community, and 30 days of circulation in the Asian community. Income inequality and unfair housing practices have also played a role in negating wealth building for Blacks in America, hence contributing to the lack of a strong Black economic base or structure. For tonight's discussion, we will learn from our panel what they are doing, what they recommend, and what insight they have to growing the Black economy. This includes learning from Renee Walters on the power of collaboration, which will be important for African Americans to grow wealth rather than the individual approach. We will hear from Team Hamm Group on building wealth through residential and commercial real estate investments. Nvestfit will enlighten us on growing wealth through the plethora of investment programs on which it advises its clients. New Black Wall Street Market will inform us on what their journey has been and how they are helping to grow the Black economy of Stonecrest. Finally, the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship, playing a critical role in providing services and opportunities for Black-owned businesses, will share with us its experiences and playing a significant role in helping to launch, grow, and scale Black-owned businesses. Unfortunately, we do not have representation from a Black-owned bank or from the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area as I had hoped, but the journey continues long after we conclude the call tonight. We thank everyone for their participation this evening and engaging in this most important conversation as we celebrate National Black Business Month. And in the East African spirit, we say, Harambe, let's pull together. All right, thank you. And at this time, I would like to turn the program over to our most eloquent and esteemed moderator. I know she loves it when I do her like that, because she is our esteemed moderator and she is eloquent. Rose Solo, Rhonda Solomon is a mother, media correspondent, speaker, lifestyle coach, and international best-selling author whose integrity, dedication, authenticity, and tenacity have all earned her the reputation of being fearless. Affectionately known as the Phoenix, Rose demonstrates an innate ability to fearlessly move through life's challenges unscathed and continues in pursuit of what ignites the fire in her soul, and that's helping others. Born to Caribbean parents, Rose spent her formative years, in St. Anne, Jamaica, where her passion for Caribbean culture and community was cultivated. American-born, Yardie-raised, Trini to the bone is a phrase you will often hear Rose say to comically describe her diverse heritage. Throughout her multifaceted career, her ultimate mission has been to encourage others to remain in constant pursuit of their dreams, providing the tools, resources, and encouragement for others to turn their struggles into successes and their pain into purpose. Rose utilizes her various media platforms to spark conversations and awareness in her communities. Her authentic, honest approach to conducting interviews and interacting with her guests leaves audiences mesmerized and wanting more. Rose was featured in Voyage Atlanta in December 2018. And additionally, in 2019, Rose was honored with a nomination from Atlanta's Hottest Entertainment Awards for Atlanta's Hottest Red Carpet Host. And in 2023, she was honored with an Outstanding Georgia Citizen Award by the Secretary of State. Really, really commendable. Working with multiple media platforms, the now syndicated Rose Solo Show is celebrating its 5th year on the air. In addition to her weekly podcast, Rose is co-host on 3 other weekly podcasts and talk shows. Rose put her fears to paper in the #1 international best-selling book, Broken Crayon, Still Color, Volume 2, Life After, with collaborating authors. In the fall of 2023, Rose will begin her most challenging adventure as the founder and owner of Phoenix Media, launching Phoenix Radio to international audiences. Rose's why is to master the art of encouraging others to uncover their identity by cultivating a love affair with their passions while manifesting a life living in their purpose. ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, the bio does no justice, because outside of this bio, I know this young lady. I've known her for a very long time. Through media, she is the gateway to the Caribbean community. So if any of you have any interest in reaching and engaging the Caribbean community, I invite you to engage Rhonda Solomon. And definitely she will help navigate you through her media platforms to the Caribbean community. And without further ado, I give you the honor of our moderator tonight, the eloquent and the esteemed Rosolo the Phoenix.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Councilman. I'm going to send your Cash App shortly. I'm going to send your Cash App shortly. Good plug, good plug. But thank you again, City Councilman. You say so much about me when you are doing so much for our community and culture. So first and foremost, thank you again for putting this entire conference together, part 2 of building the Black economy. City Councilman, future Mayor of Lawrenceville. Are you Vice Mayor now? Vice Mayor of Lawrenceville. So yes, we appreciate everything that you're doing. So thank you so much. It truly is an honor to be able to join the conversation and moderate this discussion. I don't know how eloquent I'll be, as I'm going to be very honest. I ran over a few turtles to get here, so no one can hold anything against me now. Y'all can't bribe me or anything. I said it. I ran over a few turtles to get here, but I'm truly honored and blessed to be here. So thank you. Thank you to all our panelists. I'm going to introduce everyone shortly. And of course, to everyone who will be joining, whether it be on Facebook or on Zoom. If you're on Zoom and you have any questions, make sure to put your questions in the chat. If you're on Facebook, put your questions in Facebook, and Austin and I will try to moderate and get those questions to our panelists. But we are here to discuss how not only to build, but how to also sustain a healthy and wealthy Black economy. Tonight's panelists are not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. So let's go ahead and get it started. I'm going to introduce our esteemed panelists right now. Renee's not here. So Todd S. Rose is an entrepreneur, a business owner, leader, and mentor. He is the owner and principal consultant of T.S. Rose Enterprises, LLC, which provides digital media marketing, copywriting, and business development services for small businesses. Okay. A graduate of the historic Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia, where he earned a bachelor's degree in journalism and mass communications. He started T.S. Rose Enterprises to combine his 20+ years of professional experience to help businesses grow and succeed. He spent 3 years as a professional journalist before transitioning to the Georgia Division of Public Health, where he spent 8 years. From there, he spent 3 years as an independent freelance writer before joining the newly established YP.com in 2010. It's the digital arm of the Yellow Pages. So we're here where he developed and managed digital search campaigns. Today, he is the digital media director of the New Black Wall Street Market, where he directs and manages digital and social media properties. Mr. Rose, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Malcolm Muhammad. I see one of his pictures in the back. I want it. Just let me put everything out there. Dr. Malcolm Muhammad is the Vice President of Engagement and Outcomes at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, Rice, in Atlanta, Georgia, where he directs organizational thought leadership and defines the measures that drive economic impact and performance. He holds a PhD in entrepreneurship from the University of Louisville, where he conducted research on the power of community to fuel the collective growth of entrepreneurs. At Rice, he is extending his research program by studying the specific needs of entrepreneurs, developing strategies to address them, and mobilizing economic mobility and sustainability. His extensive background in data analytics and theory development is being applied to establish an evidence-based framework for building Black businesses. Dr. Muhammad, thank you for being here. Mr. Marc Hamm, co-founder of Team Hamm Group. Team Hamm Group is a husband and wife real estate advisor and investor group. They specialize in providing research, analysis, and advisement services on investment properties to potential buyers within and outside of the greater Atlanta area. Together, They have the special ability to listen to the client's wants and needs to deliver the best outcome in every transaction. They say we strive to ensure the home buying process is exciting, awarding, and stress-free. Their goal is to earn the respect of their clients by working on their behalf, offering quality services, and making sure they have the best consultant on their side. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Hamm. Mr. Samuel Richmond, securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. As a CFP professional, he strives to serve his clients to the highest ethical standards of care. Taking the time to understand what is most important to you is paramount, while utilizing an established process to work towards your stated goals. His practice is geared towards how his clients measure peace of mind as business owners and families navigate the unique challenges they face in our world today. He is on the board of visitors for the School of Business at Georgia Gwinnett College. Furthermore, he was appointed by former Commissioner Marlene Voss to serve on the SPLOST, did I say that right? SPLOST, Citizens Project Selection Community, overseeing the funding of transportation projects throughout Gwinnett County. He says, I've been involved in various nonprofit organizations throughout Georgia and Tennessee, such as the Gwinnett Chat Outreach, Preface, the Urban League, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Operation Hope. Finally, he says, I am a proud member of Rotary International. Please welcome all our panelists to tonight's discussion. Thank you for being here, Mr. Richmond. Please welcome again all our panelists to the discussion. First, let's start with a brief intro. Okay, so I did most of the introduction, but I'm sure that you have a little something to say about yourselves that I may not have captured in the introduction. So I was gonna start with the lady, but the lady's not here. Look at that now, look at that. So Mr. Rose, I'm gonna start with you. So give us some history of the new Black Wall Street, NBWSM. I'm so excited to hear about this. And what was the vision for this new site and what are the plans for development? And good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry, I'm still a little flustered. I have my water. Good evening, go ahead, Mr. Rose.
Got you. Thank you very much. First of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me on this platform and being able to deliver this message on behalf of the new Black Wall Street market. As you all know, just bearing that name, it is a historical journey that we are on, and I am so thrilled to be a part of that journey. So just to give a little bit of history, the new Black Wall Street market opened in November of 2021. And that was right, as you all remember, that was right smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. However, the the developer of the new Black Wall Street market, his name is Leicester Bill Allen, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him later. But he actually had the vision after actually watching a documentary about Tulsa. He was sitting up late one night just watching TV and saw. And he tells this story all the time, and I love to share it because it's so profound. He saw the documentary about Tulsa, and his temperature was rising. He felt himself being kind of angry. So he put it up in prayer. He said, well, why don't somebody do something about this? And he said what immediately came back to him was, well, you're somebody. So at that point, he delved upon wanting to start the new Black Wall Street market. He bought a abandoned Target that had been sitting for 3 years, which is what the new Black Wall Street market is, 125,000 square feet of space. There were many challenges with getting it developed, electrical, as you can imagine, sitting for 3 years, a lot can go wrong with the building, but it was his quest to do that. And in under 1 year, in the heat of the pandemic, the new Black Wall Street market persevered and was opened in November of 2021. And here we are today. We're thriving. We have had our challenges with being a new business, as any new business does. Leicester Bill Allen's vision is very broad. The new Black Wall Street market is actually one step towards a larger vision, which is the new Black Wall Street Market Village, which is 300 acres. As many of you may know, he is the largest commercial landowner in Stonecrest. And he has about 300 acres that he is looking to develop based on the part of the model that he has for the new Black Wall Street market. So I can, it's just a fair warning, I can talk. So cut me off, give me a signal or something if you need me to if you need me to cut it off. But just that's pretty much the brief nuts and bolts of the history and how it got started and why it got started. But we're, like I said, we're thriving. We've got an uphill battle in front of us. However, we are undaunted. We are in it for the fight. We are fighting every day to raise awareness about the building itself. And the dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs that are within the building are in it with us in the fight. And we are fighting daily, to raise awareness, also to help develop businesses. We've got several programs. I'm sure we'll get into a lot of that later that help develop businesses, anywhere from sole proprietorships to people that are established in multiple locations. We've had several entrepreneurs start with us and actually branch out into other locations outside of the market as well. So we're proud of the work that we've done so far, but we know we have so far to go. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of this platform, to be able to speak with other entrepreneurs and other business people and like-minded individuals that can join in that with us and help to propel us to the next level.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Thank you, and we want to say thank you for your efforts and thank you for your efforts and congratulations. We look forward to hearing more. We do have more questions for you, of course, as we continue the conversation. But that's an exciting project, and if we know our history and understand our history, we understand how important that project is. But so we're going to come back to you. I do have questions. I have questions. I'm working here for Mr. Thompson, so you understand. Dr. Muhammad, what is the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship and how does it serve the Black business community? And what is your role as VP of Engagement and Outcomes? And the picture behind you might as well take it down from the wall.
Yeah, I got my Lauryn Hill, my Bob Marley. I got
both of them.
I got a couple more I'm gonna add to it soon, but no, I appreciate it. To Rhonda, to Mr. Thompson, to everybody out. I'm very honored to be here and participate in this conversation. And that description of New Black Wall Street just got me even more excited. So I'm very, very happy to be here. So I'm Dr. Malcolm Muhammad. I'm the Vice President of Engagement and Outcomes at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. And simply put, we are very similar to the New Black Wall Street, a business community. We have, as it stands today, over 300 stakeholder businesses that we serve. And essentially what we do is bring them in close proximity to learning resources, whether it be experiential learning, sessions and workshops, or peer-to-peer learning through their relationships with other stakeholders. We bring them closer to their relationships as well, so if they can be able to have the opportunity to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs and facilitate collaboration, facilitate exchange relationships. And then we just bring them closer to so many resources and opportunities that some of them, are planned, and some of them just come through our door on a day-to-day basis, right? So just this month, we've been deep in a celebration of Black Business Month. Just as early this week, we had the CEO of PayPal in the building to announce a $1 million donation to establish the PayPal Retail Academy for our entrepreneurs in our building. Last week, we had a senior executive, Mark Espinoza from Walmart, was here to talk about his open call program, where they come and offer retail businesses the opportunity to get their products in Walmart facilities across the country and across the world. And so many other opportunities that, stakeholders get just from being present in our building. And we just believe in the concept of an ecosystem and being closely located to all of those, like I said, learning and resources and opportunities and educational aspects as well. So my role as the Vice President of Engagement and Outcomes is really threefold. So one is to make sure that we can maintain a very specific and accurate pulse on the needs of our stakeholder businesses, right? So we know that, businesses differ on so many different criteria, right? They could be in different industries, different stages, different business models. They'll they'll have a different age, right? Some of them will be older seasoned businesses, some of them will be early stage businesses, and we know that all of those things will impact the specific needs that those businesses have. So we want to make sure that we always have a good idea of what are the needs of these businesses so that we can serve them properly through our educational programs. So that just goes back to my background in my doctoral studies, just being, well versed in data analysis and data storytelling, to be able to say that we are serving our entrepreneurs well. And then the second and third piece is just measurement, right? So once we feel like we understand it, then how do we validate that, one, we're having the impact that we say we have? So we're about to put out our rice report where we're going to celebrate the fact that Atlanta Regional Commission really confirmed that we've been able to generate $450 million in economic impact in the metro Atlanta area since 2020. Right? And being that, this building, this 50,000 square foot facility that we're in was literally bones and dust in 2019, right? So we've been able to come a really long way in a short amount of time. And we're really, really proud of that. And then the last piece is just performance of our organization, right? So making sure I can keep a track of our, key performance indicators that are leading us to our impact and making sure we're doing the things that we need to do. So it's a lot of it for me has to do with the data and the measurement and the reporting and how do we inform strategy for our organization. I think you're muted.
See, you told me to stay focused. I already lost it. That's an Austin joke. But thank you, Dr. Muhammad. Do we call you Dr. Muhammad tonight or Malcolm?
You can call me Malcolm. Malcolm is fine.
Okay, we're gonna call you Malcolm tonight. Okay, thank you for that. Of course, we're gonna hear more about your organization and your work and efforts within the community as we continue. Mr. Hamm, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing well, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Please tell us about Team Hamm Group.
Well, I'd love to, first of all, thank you for having me. Love to be here. Team Hamm is husband and wife, as she was telling you. My wife and I make up Team Hamm Group, which is real estate for residential and commercial. Got to tell y'all a short story so you'll understand how Team Hamm came about. We went on our first date to Cracker Barrel, and the date was going well. And, we were getting ready to go. And I said, hey, I've been looking at some houses, I'm in the market for it. Would you like to tag along with me, hang out and check out this house? And so I took her with me to see this new construction house that I had been looking at. And when you first walk in the house, it has a 2-story foyer. On the left, it had a blue office, with the books made into the wall. Had a nice dining room after that. And then you go into that big open concept kitchen that looks out over the family room, and showed her the 3-4 bedrooms in it. And I kept telling her, man, I just want to have a media room in here. And quickly I found out we had a common denominator. We both love new construction homes. So to impress her, I said, well, there's one more I'm looking at. I took her over to this gated community in Lilburn, Georgia, where it was way above my pay grade, but I was looking anyway. And so we go in this gated community, and at the time they were $425, which probably back then I was probably looking in the $200,000 range, so it was probably double what I was looking for. But these homes were custom. And we went in one and we talked to the real estate people there, and we just had a common denominator. We kept looking at it, saying, yeah, this is nice, And so we knew that day that we love real estate. Now, it was a few years after that that we got involved in real estate as agents, and from that point of view. But the synergy was there from day one. And I'm going to pause there and pass it back to Rosalo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Hamm. That's a wonderful story. I love hearing that. That's a wonderful story. I look forward to hearing more about.
Well played, Brother Hamm. Well played.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's a good first date. That's a good first date. That's showing your goals. You're giving her something to look forward to. So I like that. I love that story. And last but not least, Mr. Richmond, thank you so much for being here. So tell us about Nvestfit and your background, and what are the best programs offered by your firm?
Sure. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. And wonderful hearing everyone's story and about their backgrounds and businesses. My name is Samuel Richmond, certified financial planner and founder of Nvestfit. We are a financial coaching company, as well as we provide comprehensive financial planning and investment management services. When I think about what it is that I do, I'm really big into fitness, and I think about going and see your personal trainer for the first time, and what do they typically do, right? The number one thing is, hey, why are you here, right? What is it that you want to accomplish? Maybe you want to gain more weight, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to build mass. And so we all have these unique goals that are very specific to us. And so that's one of the first things that we do when we work with our clients, is just really understanding, hey, what's the objectives, what's the goal, what's the desired outcomes? And then from there, we identify and analyze what the current picture looks like. And then based on that, put together a program to help optimize our clients in every single area of their financial picture, so that you're not just in the gym working on abs, thinking you're going somewhere, but really getting nowhere pretty quickly. But we're looking at small incremental steps in every single area of your financial picture to, again, improve your overall financial success.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Richmond. I was taking notes. I'm so sorry. I was taking notes. Thank you for that. Thank you all for being here again. We appreciate it. So I'm going to say to those, the audience on the Zoom and all people listening on Facebook, we, as brown people, we often back away from having conversations that surround finances and investment, and how to better ourselves when it comes to finances, and how to move forward. This is a conversation we need to have in our community. And these are some of the key players within our community. So I ask you, if you're on here right now, share the live, share the Zoom link, invite a friend. If you're on Facebook, share the live, share the link, invite a friend, because we're trying to grow our community and sustain wealth. And it's very important. We can't shy away from these conversations anymore. All right. So I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Richmond, because the programs that you offer at your firm, which of them would you find are more favorable by your customers, and why, especially for our community?
Yeah, so I think, we have an open architecture platform. Essentially what that means is that we're kind of like Costco of investing. We can get any and everything for you for the most part, as long as it's prudent. But I think the number one asset class that I think as African Americans, or really anyone, should be investing would be stocks, into securities, essentially ownership of companies. And when you and you want to couple that with not only equities but fixed income as well, to get to your appropriate asset allocation, or right mix of stocks, bonds, and cash for your risk tolerance. Which all that means is how comfortable you feel investing in the market based on the goals that you have and the timelines to those said goals. So you could actually have various portfolios for various goals at different stock to bond or equity to bond ratios.
Thank you. Thank you. So what would you tell, because I don't invest. I've never, I fear it, because most of the times I speak to someone and someone doesn't know how to explain it to me properly. So how would you tell someone like me who's ignorant to investing and ignorant to understanding, what would you tell someone like me? What's the best way to start?
Great question. So I think that, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite brand right now? If you have
I have so many. Let's see. My favorite brand. Let's say Starbucks or Panera Bread. I go straight to food.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Not that I'm greedy.
No. Hey, I'm right there with you. So let's say, so every time you go to Starbucks and you buy a cup of coffee or whatever your favorite beverage is, okay? You add to the value of that company. Now, if as individuals, we can either be, I think, one of two things, right? We're either a consumer or we're an owner, right? So ownership is very powerful, because I own Starbucks stock. So every time you go through that drive-through and buy Starbucks, guess what? the valuation of that company goes up, and the more people that buy Starbucks over time, my ownership equity increases in that company, my income increases, or the value of the stock that I own has the ability to increase over time. Now, so if you're spending all your money buying Starbucks, what do you have to show for it outside of the temporary caffeine high that you get, right? However, if I maybe skip Starbucks and take that same money and put it into the stock market, years from now, when I'm dead, my kids can still be benefiting from it. So it's all about ownership. And then the other aspect is loanership. You can loan money like a bank, and you can generate income as well. And that's, you know, we can discuss that as well. But hopefully that gives you an understanding. It's kind of like when I talk to kids about, you know, like Nikes, folks want Jordans, fine. But every time you buy that Jordan, my Nike stock goes up. So, you know, you want the Jordans that has a depreciating value, which nowadays you could say maybe that's not so much so the case, but it does depreciate in value over time versus growing your value, which ultimately enables you to grow your net worth.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. That does explain a lot. I'm going to come back to you and circle back in a minute. Mr. Rose, how are you? Hope you're enjoying the conversation thus far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Awesome. So you did speak to this a little bit about the influence that the original Black Wall Street had on your decision, especially Bill Allen's vision, and the name of the. So what are some of the businesses located in the market?
Well, without actually having the specific names of the businesses, I can give you a broad stroke of the types of businesses that are there.
Absolutely.
So we've got vegan food vendors as well as we have businesses that are selling health and beauty products. We have businesses that are selling clothing and apparel, African themed, and we also have a wonderful shop named Jay's Gift Shop. She sells hats. She sells wonderful women's apparel. We have vendors that are selling purses. We have sunglasses. We have a tax business located inside the market. We have businesses that are. We have one of our key vendors is called Cubano Cigars, and they have a wonderful story. Going back to the 1800s, their family has been selling cigars and stuff of that nature. So they are there. Leather goods. There's a broad swath of different types of businesses that are there, but we get a variety that come in. We have what we call a pop-up program, whereby businesses can pay a fee for the weekend. They can come in and set up and sell their products and their wares and kind of get a feel for the market. And that has been very successful with us, because what a lot of businesses find out is they're like, okay, well, I guess I can sell my stuff here. How about that permanent spot? You know what I mean? So then they'll actually become a part of the vendor family in the new Black Wall Street market. So we've had, you know, as a lot of businesses in their growing period, businesses do come, businesses do go. But we've had a tremendous variety. But the ones that I just mentioned are some of our anchor shops that are there on a consistent basis every week. We have one that's very unique. A young man developed a sports clothing brand that he patterned after African historical figures. So you know how you have the jersey with Atlanta Falcons on it? He's got one that has Black Panthers on it. You know, he's got sports apparel that has, you know, ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, things of that nature. Very unique, very, very special types of businesses that we have. So you're guaranteed to find a tremendous variety. You're guaranteed to find something you've never seen before. You know, we have a young lady who sells crystals that she wraps in copper that you can hang right around your neck. And she gives you an entire education on the type of crystal that you buy and what it's going to do for you, that kind of thing. Well, one of our key vendors as well is a gentleman named Baba G, who actually made jewelry that Angela Bassett wore in the Black Panther movie. So he's one of our resident vendors. He's there every week, you know. So as I said, tremendous variety. You're going to find something you've never seen. And the best part about it is every dollar that you spend in there is going to help support a Black family, to help build wealth in the Black community. And it's that thing that we need. Opening up, Brother Thompson said, our dollars circulate 6 hours in our community, right? we're trying to put a stop to that. We're trying to, okay, let's go for 10 hours, right? Let's go for 20 hours, you know what I mean? Let's go for weeks and months, you know, and this is a start of that, because you can't come into the new Black Wall Street market and spend money without spending it with a Black business.
And that's what makes it so awesome. That's what makes it so awesome. And for those who are of us who are spiritual, yet like yesterday was a full moon. So you had to charge your crystals. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you didn't do it, you have to manifest this stuff. But in your words, what would you say? Because we're going to talk about the village in a minute, the new Black Wall Street Market Village. But how do you feel that this business is home? Because, you know, people hear that and say, you know, okay, we're shopping. And one of the things we talked about on the last conference was us supporting our Black businesses. And if we were to just put it together a directory of businesses and things that we all do, we would be able to circulate and work and network within our own community, but we don't do that well. So in your own words, how do you feel that this is helping to grow the success of Black businesses?
One of Mr. Allen's mottos is ownership, ownership, ownership. As a matter of fact, when you walk into the new Black Wall Street market, you'll see a humongous banner that nobody can miss seeing that says ownership, ownership, ownership. His mission is, and our collective mission is, to create businesses, to grow the number and size of minority and women-owned businesses. That is our mission. So the new Black Wall Street market represents sort of an incubator, if you will, for smaller size businesses. We have been able to partnership with several entities. One namely is called NABGA, which is a government micro network program funded through the SBA, which actually helps us offer business trainings. So we've had everything from grant writing, everything from financing your business, how to start a business, how to finance a business, all of these different types of courses that we offer for free to the public. We've actually seen people come to our courses and get government grants just by the training that they got within the market. You know, so to your question, that mission is really steadfast in our hearts and our minds at the new Black Wall Street market, because we understand that in this type of an economy, in the United States, in this type of world, the only way that we are going to persevere and move past the challenges, and we all know what those challenges are, you know, whether it be the law that's steeped against us, whether it's, you know, just in some cases, let's be honest, our own mentality sometimes, right. All of those challenges stacked up against us. The only way that we're going to persevere is if we do it, and we do it for ourselves. You know, I always say in conversations that, you know, we are the heroes that we've been looking for. You look in the mirror, you are the hero that you've been looking for. And that is one thing that Mr. Allen presses upon us. He's like, well, what are you doing? What are you personally doing for yourself, for your business? What are you doing to propel yourself to that next level? Another one of his mottos is excellence at a minimum. He you know, he's a humble looking older man, but trust me, he says this himself. He is a tough taskmaster. He expects the best out of everyone all the time, every time, you know, and I appreciate being in that type of environment, because it definitely does propel us to be better. And he propels the merchants that are a part of the new Black Wall Street market to do the same. So by us providing this type of programming, this type of leadership, we have actually seen several businesses grow themselves out of the market, meaning they ran out of space. They're like, I need a bigger space. You know what I mean? We've had merchants, the young man I mentioned earlier, he had to bust out a wall. He requested to bust out a wall so he could expand his business right inside the market. You know, so we're having tremendous success in that regard. But one of our challenges as a retail space is always traffic. You know, even the malls all around are suffering due to traffic. Traffic is down. You see what I mean? So, but we've got so many different things. We've got a jazz club. We've got a ballroom. We've got 2 30-foot LED screens in the building. We've got, we've got all of the streets in the New Black Wall Street market are named for historical figures. We have a Madam C.J. Walker Boulevard. We have an A.G. Gaston Street. We have a Choctaw Avenue. We have a Bourbon Street. We have a Greenwood District, which has a sound stage. We have 125,000 square feet of space. So if you can't find anything you like in there, something's wrong with it.
Something's wrong.
You know,
Something's wrong.
yeah.
Well, it is Labor Day weekend, so if you're looking for anything to do, and this is what we did last with the last conference. If you could just pop your contact information in the chat, so we can start. We're creating a directory. Can I plug it, Austin? We're creating a directory with Black businesses, and we want everyone to share so we can add to the directory. And then we're also trying to meet in person, so we can, network and meet with each other and just figure out what we need to do going forward, because we're having the conversations, but how do we continue to have the conversations and build and start acting upon these conversations?
You know what? I've got the perfect meeting space.
You do? Because guess what? I'm gonna bring a little bit. It's only a little bit of me. The two think they're adults. They're going away to a family this weekend. So I'm gonna have a little bit. We're gonna come and we're gonna do some shopping and have some fun. So you will definitely see me there this weekend. I don't like the sun, so I like to stay inside, and I like to shop, so I'll be inside. And then you said jazz restaurant, so maybe I won't break. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yes, please put thank you for that. I'm gonna circle back with you as well, but please put your contact information, all the panelists and anyone who's listening that has a business, please put your information in the group. You said so much, especially with grant writing, because with starting the project, and I've worked for various media outlets. And when and I've been postponing this, starting the radio and starting the media, Austin knows. But one of the things I realized is that, it takes a lot. And I have other businesses, but this one, because I'm so passionate, because I'm so intentional about what I want it to be and how I want to serve the community, I keep on, pressing my brakes and pumping my brakes. But I look forward to learning more, especially with the grant writing and having more conversation with you in the future. So thank you. I'm gonna circle back with you. Dr. Muhammad, how are you doing, sir? With the two photos back there. So tell us a little, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Tell us about the legacy of Herman J. Russell, the gentleman whom the center is named for, and his vision for supporting Black-owned businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So right today, so H.J. Russell and Company is one of the largest construction companies in the country, right? But one of my favorite kind of stories of his that kind of conveys everything about who he was is really the beginning of his story. So he has a great book called Building Atlanta. If you haven't read it, I would definitely check that book out. And also a documentary that you can find on YouTube with the same title. So whatever type of learner you are, he's got some content out there for you.
Repeat the name of the book for me so I can put it in the...
Yeah, it's Building Atlanta.
Okay.
Herman J. Russell.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so one of the first stories you'll read in that book is about how he got his start in real estate and in construction, right? And it really boils down to he saw a small vacant piece of land and he took it upon himself to build a house on that land, to purchase that land, save up his money, purchase that land and build a house on it by himself and with a small team of friends that helped him to build it really brick by brick, right? So really, when you talk about starting from scratch and building something on your own and for yourself, I think Herman Russell is really the embodiment of that. And then from there, kind of the immediate thing that happened next was he figured out that he had built his house on the wrong vacant lot. So it was like the lot right next to his was the lot that he built it on, and another guy on that lot. And that, to me, that just embodies, again, like in entrepreneurship, stuff like that's going to happen, right? You got to be able to persevere through the unpredictable, unseen, unknown things that are going to come your way, right? And I think that it could have been very easy for him to give up at that point, because you think about that, that's a big deal, right? Back then, it may have been easier to get out of stuff like that because they ended up doing a handshake agreement where they would just exchange lots. So he was able to keep the house that he built. But think about how wrong that could have gone if he had, had to deal with building a house on the wrong lot, right? But he was able to persevere. And then, there's a lot of history in between then and now, right? Because that's the beginning of the story. But you'll see, you'll see his impact throughout, Atlanta history, throughout civil rights history. You'll see Herman J. Russell's name come up a lot, right? when Martin Luther King needed a break from his movement, he used to go swim at Herman Russell's house here in Atlanta, right? He has pictures throughout that book. He's met all the presidents, right? So he's a very, recognized figure in civil rights and in the business community at large. And then just the impact that he's had, right? I think about how, in this conversation, some of the things that I hope we get to talk about in terms of how to build the Black economy and contribute to the wealth gap through entrepreneurship. I think Herman Russell laid a blueprint in a lot of ways in terms of one, just this whole idea. Like in the book, he explains how general contractors versus subcontractors work and how you can apply that to any type of entrepreneurship, right? So when we talk about circulating the Black dollar, like I've heard mentioned a few times on this call, you can really talk about how, when you had to develop those supplier relationships and those exchange relationships in the course of doing your business, how you can be really thoughtful about who you partner with and who you collaborate with and how you can keep the dollars that your business generates within your community, right? So that idea of building community with your business is woven throughout Herman Russell's story. And then you can think about how he recognized opportunities within the business that he was building, right? So today he has a business, or his family runs a business called Concessions International, right? So they own, and this is another fact that I didn't even mention, like they own over 40 acres of land around the Russell Center where our facility is located, right? So they own the building where Pascal's is on Fair Street. They own the actual Pascal's business, right? So he's branched out and found opportunities within his business to use the resources and use the infrastructure that he built to apply that to different opportunities and to branch out. And really, like, again, this idea of building a business community rather than just building one individual business to keep dollars circulating and to create opportunities for others. And that's really the last piece of it to me is all of the opportunities that he was able to create for others, right? So you can think of his children who are still prominent in the business community in Atlanta, right? Jerome Russell is the president of the board for the Russell Center, right? Denated Russell is the CEO of Concessions International, where they're operating concessions in airports around the country. Michael Russell, is the CEO of Herman J. Russell and Company, the construction company, right? So he groomed his kids to be business professionals and to be, have that same presence that he was able to carry in the business community. And outside of just his own children, like he has so many different proteges that come from under the Herman Russell umbrella. One of the prominent ones being T. Dallas Smith, who's also a big name in Atlanta in construction and real estate, right? So he was able to groom people to really leave a legacy that was bigger than himself and to really have his footprint continue to live on beyond the work that he was able to accomplish himself. So, and then the Russell Center itself being another embodiment of that, like he's living well beyond his own individual life.
Thank you for that. So there are slightly over 3 million Black-owned businesses in the U.S., right? But only around 150,000 have employees. And you touched on this a few minutes ago about, the further discussions that you want to have. How can we get our African Americans to start, not only to start, but to grow and to scale successful businesses? Because we often start and we don't know how to sustain that. And that's a question I'm going to ask Dr. Muhammad first, and then I'd like everyone to join in that conversation and answer as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different directions you can really go with that answer, right? It's very multifaceted. So I'll throw out a few things and then I'll open it up to the rest of the group. But I think entrepreneurship education is a big piece of it, right? I think that we know that a lot of us have ideas, have business ideas, want to get started. We'll actually take that first step to get started. But it's about how do you build that foundation? What type of learning experiences do you actually need in order to acquire the knowledge and acquire the skills and acquire the resources that you need to build a business the right way? And then it's about, even before that though, I heard someone else mention this idea of mentality, right? So what are you building a business for? What are the goals that you have? What are the outcomes and the impact that you intend to have, right? Because one of the things that I try to steer away from is promoting entrepreneurship just for the sake of promoting entrepreneurship, right? Because I think that, there's a lot of different ways that entrepreneurship can be productive, and there's a lot of different ways entrepreneurship can be not so productive, right? So we got to be specific about the way we go about building businesses. And so for me, that means going beyond just building a business for yourself, but how can I build industries and create opportunities for others, right? I go back again to those, supply relationships, right? How am I making connections between other people that I see building businesses, and how are we working together? Again, like a Herman Russell, who will use a lot of joint ventures and things like that to say, if we work together, then we can reach opportunities that there's no way we would be able to reach on our own. And that's, again, one of my favorite things about Herman Russell, right? He understood that, 25% of a billion is still way more than 100% of a million, right? So if we can split up the opportunities and work together to accomplish things, that's really the way that I see we can actually start to grow and scale successful businesses. And then the last piece I'll add before I stop is, once you do it, you got to give back, right? There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are just starting out that need mentors, right? They need people that can help their path be shorter and help their path be easier. And so we got to take it upon ourselves to reach back and provide that advice and provide that knowledge to make paths easier but for the people coming behind us to build their business.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad. Same question for Mr. Richmond.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I think just to expound on what Malcolm said, or complement what he said, vision. I think vision is extremely important, because what is your vision for your business? I mean, there are people that they start a business and they set out to not go beyond themselves. The business dies with them. And I think, whether it's the Black community or any other community, very rarely do businesses expand beyond second generation, even third generation companies. And so I think it starts with the mindset. I know that when I started my business, my mindset was, hey, you know what? I started in the business as a financial advisor with Edward Jones, and they're probably now into their third generation. And so my mindset is, hey, when I started my company, I'm looking at Edward Jones and I'm like, hey, I want to be, like Edward Jones or better, right? I want to take it to the next level, but it starts with the mindset. And so that's what I'd leave. And then I'd say, obviously, resources, right? So if you have the right mindset and you're working towards accomplishing that vision, the next thing is going to be, who are the people that you hang out with? Like, who are your closest people? There's a saying, you are the sum total of the books you read and the people that you hang out with. And I can tell you, on my entrepreneurship journey, the highs and the lows, having a very close, tight-knit group of like-minded individuals that have been there, been beyond where you're trying to go, and even maybe someone that's just getting started in their journey. But I kind of have this vision of a ladder. I'm on the ladder. I got one hand, people are downloading into me, right? And then I got one hand below downloaded into someone else, trying to bring them up. And so collectively, we all learn and grow together. But being able to reach out to a close network of folks, being able to have resources. My people perish for lack of knowledge. We don't have knowledge sometimes because we're so bogged down with running the business that really the business is running us. And I can tell you, even in my own personal experience, where I've literally become a slave to my business, that you got to be able to work in the business, but you also have to take time to work on the business. So I think that's these are just some of the things where I think we can, get sidetracked to where we don't allow ourselves to grow beyond ourselves, right? But I tell my boys, I got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, Samuel and Isaiah. I'm grooming them to run our companies. And I'm telling them, if they don't get their homework done, I'm like, hey, Samuel, how are you going to be the CEO of XYZ company if I can't depend on you to get something as simple as your homework done, right? So what you do today has an impact of, outcomes tomorrow. And so I'm grooming them now for that.
Thank you. My 8-year-old is listening. When I got in the house, asked her, did she do her homework? She nodded and she said, oh, no, I forgot. So she just looked up. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Don't come here. Mr. Rose, same question. Your thoughts on, us getting African Americans to start to grow and to scale successful businesses. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, kudos to both of the people who spoke before me, because they're spot on with everything they've said. And you know, I look at the motivation for starting a business, you know, and this is coming partly from a personal space as well. I've asked people sometimes where, you know, we got into the debate about, well, everybody's not meant to be a business owner, or, you know, why should I start a business when I can just go work for someone else? Da, 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 da.
Right.
So I just asked them a simple question. I said, well, who's going to hire your kids? Who's going to hire your kids? So if you walk into, you know how we used to always do the joke, okay, white man, black man, Chinese man, right?
Yeah.
So we all go in for an interview, right? And the company happens to be owned by Chinese people, right? All things being considered the same, meaning all of us have the same skill level, same skills, so forth and so on. Who do you think is going to get the job? You know, and I always ask people that, explain that to them just as a sobering moment to say, okay, well, wow, that is a valid point, you know. Brother Richmond mentioned it before, and he's already on that path, and I am, as well as some other people that are educating their kids about owning something. Ownership. I think scaling actually goes from both sides of the candle, so to speak. So you scale your business by training your kids, one, to work for you, to do the things that you do, so that you can hire them. And don't forget the great tax break that you can get on hiring your kids as well. But you hire your kids and put them into the mindset that you are an owner. You are a business owner. It's sure you can go other places and patronize other businesses and support other businesses, but you want to be in a position of ownership. You want to be in a position where nobody can fire you.
Right.
Fire yourself, but you got to really screw up to do that. But if you're doing things the right way, nobody can fire you. You are your own entity. You are surviving on your own. Okay, scaling on the other end of other end of the spectrum is, you know, I've got a business, I've got a talent, I've got a skill. How do I monetize that? How do I just, instead of me just baking cakes and giving them out every first Sunday, how do I monetize that and say, okay, well, if you want this particular type of cake, it's $10. You know what I mean? And there should be no shame in that. You put blood, sweat, and tears, well, I won't say blood, but you put sweat and tears into making that cake, you should be able to get something back for that cake. And the cake is just a small example, but that's whatever it is. I started my business doing copywriting. Actually, I started in college, you know, writing papers for fellow students. Excuse me, did I mention that out loud? But yeah, so that's how I started my business, you know, and I went on to get a journalism degree. And then I went on to, you know, get into digital media and so forth and so on. But I recognized immediately that I had a skill that I could use that other people needed. And a lot of us have that. We have a talent that nobody else has. So somebody will pay you for that. You know what I mean? So in sort of a roundabout way of answering your question, yeah, you scale your business in more than one way. You scale it from the conception all the way to after your business is flourishing and growing. You never really stop scaling your business. If you, no matter how successful your business is, Coca-Cola is still scaling their business and they're a worldwide phenomenon. You know what I mean? Jeff Bezos is still scaling his business. You know what I mean? I look at it like this, and I had a thought earlier today when I was thinking about on the call. You know, somebody asked me one time, well, so when do you stop scale? When do you stop trying to grow? Whatever. I say when I've won. That's when I stop. I stop when the victory is won. Well, what does winning look like? Well, Jeff Bezos and Amazon have set the bar so high to where everybody's fighting to be second. They're not really fighting to be first, they're fighting to be second, because he set the bar so high that there's really no capturing what he has in first place. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go for second place because he owns number one. You know what I mean? So in our minds, in what we do in our businesses, we have to have that mentality, is that we got to be the biggest we can be. And also, I'll just add one quick point to that, is that, and someone mentioned it earlier, building a team. You have to have a team to scale. In certain types of businesses, you may not. Some types of digital spaces, you don't necessarily have to have a team to scale. But I even challenge that notion, because I have digital businesses, but I still need, once I grow to a certain space, I still need somebody to build that website. I still need somebody to write that copy because I can't do it all myself. And I'm going to date myself with this example, but does anybody remember the show In Living Color, where they used to have the segment where, and it was about Jamaicans, and they were kind of poking fun at Jamaicans and always owning businesses and having so much to do. So David Wayans is like, he's the bailiff 1 minute, right? So he drags somebody off. Then he goes and puts on the garb of the judge and jumps in the judge seat. He's like, I'm the judge now. So then he goes and he starts prosecuting the person, he's like, I'm the judge, I'm the bailiff, and I'm the attorney and the prosecuting attorney, So Brother Malcolm mentioned that earlier, and it's so true. We get in our own way a lot of times in an attempt to scale, but we're really scaling backwards if we're trying to do it all by ourselves. Yeah. We have to get teams scale. Any successful business has a team. It can be a small team, but there's a team involved. I know everything there is to know about my business, but I can't do everything that needs to be done. So that's how we scale. We team up.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Rose. Mr. Hamm, same question.
Well, I have to say, the gentleman prior to me said some good stuff, and I can't replicate what they said, but I can tell you a short story that answers your question.
Okay.
And the answer to the question before the story is families. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My father is a retired shoe repairman of 31 years, and I grew up in a shoe shop. And a good friend of his from North Carolina had a barbershop. My brother is in business right now near Todd Rose. He has a Greek shop, and he's been in business 35 years. And so I grew up working for my family. And it wasn't a question of, I got to go to work. No, boy, you get in the car, we going to the shop, and we're going to do what we got to do. And you're going to sweep the floors, bag up some shoes, run some errands, and learn the trade. And even though I didn't grow up to be a shoe repairman, I learned values and all kinds of things that are instilled in me that work in any business. And so for me, family is the biggest thing that we're missing in this equation. There's a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, and I take my hat off to the brothers here online that are doing their thing. I really appreciate y'all. But for the kids that are coming up without a family, it's hard for them to envision, I'm going to be this big entrepreneur, and I'm going to be owning Amazon and this and that and so on and so forth. So let me tell you what happened to me growing up. Although we worked in the shoe repair shop, it was destined we had to go and do kind of like internships. So we worked at my father's friends' businesses growing up. So once you got to a certain age, you had to go over there to Hess gas station on Park Avenue and First Street in Newark and work during the wintertime. Y'all know how cold it is. I don't know if y'all know, but in New Jersey, you as the attendee have to pump the gas.
Right.
No matter how cold it is, no matter what the temperature, no matter what's going on. I had on 2 pair of gloves, 2 coats, 2 pair of socks, to this, to that. And when you touch the pump, it's wet from the snow, gets right through your bones, and you're cold. And I didn't last long. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I didn't last long at Hess. And I love the people that work there. But every time it was time to go pump some gas, my meter ran over because I put the, gas thing in there, and I go back in, try to get warm. Boom, it ran over for somebody who wanted $10 or $15. And so I didn't last long. It was like, pull me to the side. Hey, Mark, we like you, but you keep coming up short. We had to get rid of you. But it was a family friend who helped us, tutor my brother and mentor my brother and myself. So my brother went first and I went second. We had a second family member that had a business called Bops Group. Bops Group is out of, I can't even think of the place in New Jersey, way up north. And basically they built boxes for big machinery to ship across the country, across the world. And so first day I'm in there, they tell me a story about shooting nails out of a nail gun that went through somebody's hand. And so first day, I'm like, I'm gonna hate this. And so the splinters, the ruggedness of it, just, I knew day one, this ain't my thing. But I lasted the whole summer. I was there at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, off at 2:30, getting ready to go to my other job to work for my father. And it just taught me a lot of good things. And so what I'm getting at is, that was my extended family, that friend of the family. That was my family at the Hess gas station. That was my family. Even though we weren't standing under my father, it was the same values and principles. And that is what we are missing today, is the values and principles. If you teach good values and learn good values and principles, you can apply that to any job, whether you're working for someone or you working for yourself. My father always said, boy, if you're gonna sweep that floor, you be the best floor sweeper you can be. And so the other day I was at my brother's shop sweeping. It came back to my memory. You know, I was sweeping and I missed some, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I missed some stuff on the floor. I had to go back over it, but then that voice came in my head, said, boy, if you're gonna be a street sweeper, sweep it up good, you know. And so that's what those are those values and those principles. I'm 53 years old, but I still remember as a child, you know, putting in the work, putting in the time, and being educated. You can't just be one thing. You do need education, but you need street smarts, but you need values, but you need morals. And so let's not forget to teach these kids coming up the values and the morals. You know, we used to get it back in the day from a belt or getting whoopings. I almost joke with you, Rhonda, when you said your daughter forgot to do a homework. I was gonna say, well, I'll pass you my belt. That's how we learned back in the day, is through discipline. And you really can't do that these days because the kids yell, hey, I'm getting beat. And society says that's not right. So let's find another way. We're all smart, educated people. Let's find a way to start getting these kids involved early. We had another family friend that worked at Bell Atlantic back in the day when they used to have internships for electronics. I didn't get to go, but my brother went. And I'm the electronic wizard. He ain't, you know. And so I said that to say opportunities for the right child will change their life. So I want all of you, I challenge you, Sir Malcolm and Sir Samuel and Sir Todd, I challenge y'all to go get that kid who's hanging on the corner, pull his pants up, put a belt on him, bring him in and teach him something, teach him some morals, teach him some values, and put him to work. And I don't know if you pay him or don't pay him, but at the end of the day, he's gonna learn so much more from you than, I almost said it, them brothers on the street. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ron.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamm. You know, you make a great point when you talk about families, because I'm in human resources and specifically recruiting. And so, you know, I have job events and I hire, even today, you know, I had candidates come in and it's a call center environment. And Mr. Rose touched on because our company has just transitioned from being owned by a Black couple to being acquired by an Asian team. And so there's that change in dynamic happening. But I talk about it often with Austin and some of my coworkers that I remember when I used to go in for interviews, and I'm similar in age to you, Mr. Hamm. I remember when I used to go on interviews, or back then when we went on interviews, it was always dressed to impress, you know. And when I look at our youth now coming in for interviews, and I understand it's call center job, you know, the lack of respect for themselves, and that's what I call it. Because how you present yourself to me is my first impression of you and how you want to represent the company. T-shirts and sweats, and today someone came in the slippers with the, you know, the crushed white T-shirt, and I was just so taken aback. It took me a point where I said, okay, I actually pushed her interview to someone else. I said, because I know what I'm going to say. And then I go on with the preaching, and you know, sometimes they don't receive that very well. You know, our youth. You know, I've had a lot of youth curse me out, to say the least, try to, you know, fight me. I've told Austin stories, and And I always tell them, I'm like, don't be confused. I'm here to, I'm working, I'm at the job, but we're not going to disrespect anyone within this organization, or especially on my team. But do you think that that's at some point, because of what you said, Mr. Hamm, that it's changed the dynamic of discipline right now, you know, and what our children can cry out and, you know, what they can say. Do you think, are we failing our generation in what we are in creating our legacy and ensuring that they understand what they need to move forward and sustain wealth or build a business or be successful entrepreneurs?
I'm gonna say this. I hope everybody know who C.T. Vivian is, and God rest his soul. He just passed recently, last year, about a year ago.
Mhm.
C.T. Vivian, I used to go meet with him on a Black panel, and you know, he had some esteemed people around. And I asked him myself, you know, this civil rights leader, I asked him, I said, what do we do to catch these Black youth? Well, how do we help them? How do we keep them from falling through the cracks or getting lost or being that thug on the street? How do we help them? And his answer, short and sweet, was, we don't give up. He had created these programs for these kids to mentor them from an early age and stick with it. And, you know, his answer is right. I mean, we got to not give up. Now, you may only reach 1 or 2, but isn't that better than just shooing everybody off because of the way they wear the hair or the way they wear the clothes or what their attitude or this or that? You need to reach 1 and teach 1 and help the next one, so that maybe that will carry on down to their children and their family knit. This ain't a perfect scenario that we're in right now. We could be a whole lot better, but at least we're trying. And it's when we give up. If somebody that gave up on me back in the day, I sure wouldn't be working for Team Hamm Group selling houses. You know, my mindset would be completely different. So don't give up. And don't think that just because a kid seems like he's not listening, that you're not reaching him. You are reaching him. He just got 20 voices in his ear telling him the wrong thing to do, and you're one voice telling him the right thing to do. But be that voice. I've had that voice growing up from them family friends telling me different things about technology and real estate and all the things sunk in. I just had to apply myself. So that's what we need to do. We need to be that bridge for those kids. And no, we ain't failed, because we're the examples. We're getting up every day, busting our hump, making it happen. And that's what we got to continue to. First, we need to be an example and do better ourselves, and then teach the next brother. All right, Rhonda.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sticking with you because I have another question for you.
Sure.
So let's talk about real estate and investment. And thank you for that. Thank you. I won't give up. I won't give up. I struggle, but I won't give
Even
up.
when you want to, don't give up. And sometimes it's your kid. It ain't somebody else's kid. It's yours.
Speak on it. 2 are going
Don't
away
get me to
this weekend.
preaching. I'm going to pass the
Hallelujah.
collection plate around here.
Yes, so I
Testify.
appreciate that. I think a lot of us appreciate it, because I know we're going through similar challenges. We're raising the same generation of children. So we're going through similar challenges. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. We're not going to give up. So let's talk about building our Black economy requires more money in the hands of African Americans, right? So how does real estate ownership drive that realization?
It's really simple. It's generational wealth, which means passing assets down to the next generation, which we don't do, because we pass down recipes and sayings and all kinds of stuff, but we need to actually pass something down that has value, like a house or land. We need to promote long-term financial security and be debt-free in the future. You know, we get so bogged down in credit cards and debt and this and that. Brothers can't even imagine being debt-free. And so we need to teach that. You know, real estate is a way to have long financial security. You keep the real estate or keep the land or house in your family. Maybe you're renting it out. Maybe you sell it and redo it again. And then community development, you know, growing that within the Black community, such as land and businesses and, all these tangible things, affordable housing, centers, activity centers, commercial establishments, businesses, repairing the neighborhoods, all these things. We need to dig in our own neighborhood and revitalize it and get it back to a respectable way. I get tired of riding by and seeing, I saw it today, riding by and see graffiti on a nice building on like it's tagged. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we doing this? We don't even respect. I remember growing up, they would say they build the projects out of concrete and steel, and we still tear it down. Well, some of us still have that mentality. So us that care, us that know better, we got to get out here and show and prove, and not just be talking. Put the work in, put your effort into your words and your actions, and go get these graffiti artists and have them paint murals. If you're gonna tag the wall anyway, let's do something positive with it. And so this is what we got to do. We got to give back in a way where it encompasses people to reach their skills and abilities and get some positiveness out of it.
So you mentioned owning businesses, and according to the National Association of Realtors report, white Americans own their home, 73% of white Americans, in comparison to 44% of Black Americans owning their home. How do we increase that? How do we, because if for us to build it and for us to pass it down, we have to own it. And right now we don't even own it.
And the answer to that question is we increase Black ownership through educating. And let me just say this is, I don't mean to be funny, but there's too many of us out here doing business instead of business. We need to do more business. All right, so the benefits of Black home ownership, we teach the benefits of buying versus renting. I always give people the example when they come to us and they say, hey, I want to buy a home. I think, I might have to rent or lease to own. I'm going, look, let me break it down for you. And I tell my son this all the time. If you take $1,000 in rent every month, that's $12,000 at the end of the year that you don't get back. But if you paid $1,000 in a mortgage every month, and at the end of the year, that's $12,000. Come that next April, when you file your taxes, you should get anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 back, give or take, right? So if you're gaining $4,000, and I'll take the higher, if you're gaining $4,000 a year when you were losing $12,000 a year, aren't you gaining? Aren't you winning? So to put money back in your pocket, if you own something, you get something back. We teach credit score, how important that is to go access your credit report on a regular. It's free once a year. You go to freecreditreport.com and pull your Experian, Equifax, and the other one that slips my mind, somebody at the TransUnion. Yep. Run your credit reports, or even go to Credit Karma and just be credit responsible. We get it all the time. We got a call the other day. Somebody says, yeah, I'm ready to buy a house. I said, well, what's your credit score? I don't know. Well, that's not being credit responsible. If you going out to dinner, you know where you're going to eat, don't you? You know what you're going to order when you get there. Well, if you know that, if you're going to buy some Nikes, you know how much they cost. Well, that's what you want, but be responsible and know your credit score, because you could be any ethnicity in the world. But if on paper, you got your credit score together, when they look at you in black and white of your finances and your credit score, you might look like, any ethnicity. But when you got bad credit, you look like this ethnicity. I'm gonna move on. We gotta teach and educate about saving and investing. We gotta stop borrowing. We just borrow. Hey, my man, let me hold something. We gotta stop all that. We gotta just be disciplined and save money. I mean, it's plain and simple. If you have enough money for earnest money, you might be able to buy a house. And earnest money is 1% of the sales price. So anywhere from 1 to say 4,000, 1,000 to 4,000, you got your earnest money, meaning I'm putting down this amount to say I'm interested in buying this house, and I'm showing you by putting money on it. You heard put a ring on it, we'll put some money on it and you can buy a house. Investing. We invest in other people's businesses, but not by choice. We buying every name brand known to man and ain't getting nothing back from it. I forget which brother, I think it was Brother Samuel was talking about the stocks and how you go and buy this coffee and these Nikes and this and that, and you're making another man's stock go up and yours is going down because you're just spending. You gotta find something that's an investment. And I'm just gonna give an example of you hear the words Airbnb these days. Go, when your kid goes to college, here you go, Rhonda. Your kid goes to college, instead of paying for the dorm room, go buy your daughter a condo, right? It might be a 3 or 4 bedroom condo. Go spend the money on a condo, put your daughter in one room and rent it out to some other students to pay $300, $400, $500 a month, whatever, right? When she gets out of school in 4 years, give her the condo and say, hey, here you go. You can sell it. You can rent it out. You do whatever you want to, but this is your start into home ownership and investing and your future. You got something to work with. And I hate to make it racial, but why is it every white counterpart starts off with cash, education, and a property? If we didn't have to start from zero, we'd be a lot further along. And I'm gonna say that again because some of us didn't hear me. If we didn't have to start from zero as a man, as a black man, as a black woman, if you didn't have to start from zero, meaning your family didn't leave you anything or give you anything or give you a start. If you didn't have to start from zero, ground zero, by the time you're 40, 50 years old, you'd be a lot further along. You might be a multi-millionaire. You might own multiple properties and investments and businesses and so on and so forth. The sky's the limit. The sky is hard to be the limit when you're struggling through all kinds of BS throughout your life because you started from zero. You behind that 8 ball. You are climbing that uphill battle until you figure it out. And that's why I commend Brother Malcolm, Brother Samuel, and Brother Todd for doing what you do. But don't forget, there's another brother just like you cross town that got caught up in some stuff, and he never got out of that. That's the ones we need to be talking to and educating. We ain't all ignorant. So sometimes we just need to give back and teach buying versus renting, credit score, saving and investing. And these are all the resources God already gave us. We just need to tap into them.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I want to segue because Renee Walters isn't here and she was one of the panelists and she wasn't here today. But speaking about real estate, she's the president and creative director for the Freedom Georgia Initiative. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. I think Austin put her contact and information for the Freedom Georgia Initiative in the chat. But it was formed in 2020 to create a safe haven for the Black community in response to racial trauma, social injustices, and systemic racism and the global pandemic. We all remember the pandemic, right? So she's an activist in her own right, and she was able to bring 19 families together to purchase 97 acres of land in South Georgia to build a self-sustained, eco-friendly, intentional community. And they currently have about 502 acres and are preparing to build a thriving and smart city. So I just want to give her, even though she's not here, we would have loved to have her here. You're raising your hand. You praising me or you, okay, are you?
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, I thought you were praising me. Oh, you just wanted to say something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And excuse me, and I just wanted to jump in at this point because I looked at the Freedom Georgia Initiative, and what really got me excited about that was that these were 19 individuals who didn't know one another.
Mhm.
They had a common goal, right? To create this city, this safe haven, right? Purchase these 97 to 100 acres of land in Toomsburg, Georgia, right? These are 19 people who decided we're going to collaborate and we're going to galvanize support, among those of us of like-minded interests and purchase this land so we can create this opportunity for ourselves. And that's the thing I think that's missing from our communities, is putting aside our ability to be selfish and to just to do things as an individual and not as a community, not in a collaborative effort. And I really wish the sister was here on the call tonight, because I wanted her to really expound on that. But that's really important for us as a community in building the Black economy. We can do all the wonderful things, in investment and real estate and so on and so forth. But remaining, even I admit, even I am learning and have been learning to come out of that sense of individualism and to collaborate. But I'm going to get off of that and hand it back over to you, Ro. We have some great conversations, you and I.
Yes.
But the power of collaboration, that is something that I think going forward is what we should be working toward. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Dr. Muhammad, how you doing over there? We've been chatting and leaving out the conversation. I'm coming to you in a moment, Mr. Richmond. So how do we encourage African Americans with over 1.6 trillion in purchasing power to spend? Because here's the key. We don't understand how powerful the Black dollar is. We say this all the time. We say it, but we still don't understand it. And I see it in the community. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. But how do we encourage African Americans with over 1.6 trillion in purchasing power to spend more of their disposable dollars with Black-owned businesses? And why is this a continuous and persistent challenge that we have?
Yeah, so I'm going to start sounding a little bit redundant, because to me, it's all about like this idea of business communities versus, isolated businesses, right? Because a lot of times, like when we try to promote, spending with Black businesses, it's like one-off businesses here and there that, we try to send people to. But if you look at other ethnicities, right, they can walk up the block and they'll have their restaurant, their grocery store, their laundromat, their gas station, and like complementary businesses that represent the necessities, not even necessarily disposable income yet, right? That's the major things you have to purchase before you even get to disposable income.
Right.
Those are the businesses that we need to make prominent, right? So I'll go back to like not just entrepreneurship for entrepreneurship's sake, but really being really strategic and intentional about the types of businesses that we create, how we create connections between those businesses and the communities that we serve, right? And in that way, like if it's not just, and I don't, talk down on any business, right? But if it's not an example of let's go buy these Black-owned sneakers, right? Because that's like a one-off thing, unless it's, my shoelaces are manufactured by a Black shoelace company, and then my retail outlet where I'm selling the sneakers is owned by a Black-owned store. That's how we should be thinking about it in terms of industries and not just individual businesses, right? Because only then will we be able to provide people the opportunity to spend their dollars with Black-owned businesses, right? Because I think right now is more of a opportunity thing. Because just be honest, if you're looking for a place to spend, your opportunities are going to be limited right now in terms of depending on what exactly you're looking for. And so it's just being more intentional and being strategic about the types of businesses that we create and the types of entrepreneurship that we promote.
Thank you for that. Thank you, I appreciate that, Dr. Muhammad. Okay, Mr. Richmond, I have two questions. And I know we're limited with time, but Austin, you have to do this again, because similar to our last discussion, there is so much that our community can learn from the panelists. But I know what I want to know about. I'm just skipping questions. It's all about me now. So tell us about your new construction project. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll get into that, but I wanted to just address
Absolutely.
something, one of your last questions about the disparity between, Black families owning 44% versus
Yes.
73 or something like that
Yes.
for Caucasian brothers and sisters. Location. Okay, so two things I would say: where is the home located? Because the value of certain neighborhoods vary, right? And then the other thing is, what's the debt service on that property? And so, I mean, I see it. I deal in wealth for the last 14 years. All I've been around is wealth. That's what I do for a living, is grow wealth.
Right.
And I've seen the transition of families. I have a myriad of clients that come from all backgrounds and ethnicities. And so, a lot of times when we inherit properties, the property might have a tremendous amount of debt on it, and it may not be in the most desirable location. And so at that point, maybe we don't have the financial wherewithal, because nothing was left to us in many instances to be able to carry that on. So that property gets, it doesn't really do much for the next generation. Whereas in other instances, folks are getting properties or getting farmland, acreage, and then they're splitting it up and they're keeping it in. And it may go for multiple generations, or it may get passed down, or maybe they sell it. But again, everyone's now an instant millionaire. So I think that in terms of building wealth and transitioning wealth, we have to be very intentional about not blowing our money on the latest, greatest fashion statement or the latest, greatest automobile, because our debt, right, enables us to not be able to make moves, right? It becomes the chains that bind us to being a solopreneur and not being able to scale and grow our businesses or be able to invest in other things. So with that, I'll jump into the building project, because the building project was a collaboration between my brother and I, who went into business together. The name of it's the building space. And so this is essentially a 3-story commercial property in Atlanta. We pay Cobb County taxes, praise God. We're in 30339 zip code, right by the Battery. And then Newport's a dealership. That's our next door neighbor now. And so we got the location, right? Location. But this deal would not have happened had two brothers from the same mother and father come together, pool our resources together to be able to make this deal happen. And I think one of the reasons why, we don't go beyond, or go as far as we can, is that we don't collaborate. We don't collaborate. We want to be individualistic. We want to do it on our own. That's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, I would much rather get 10% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own, right? And so going back to the space, it is a co-working space. It's a business incubation center. What we want to do is curate a group of entrepreneurs to inhabit the space, to where there can be collaboration amongst like-minded individuals, right? And so kind of our motto, we're still working this out on the marketing aspect of it. We're hiring someone for that, but it's building community, it's building collaboration, and it's building co-innovation. Because I think when you build that community and you guys begin to collaborate, then co-innovation can happen. So that's a little bit. I can go into more details about that, but I'm going to stop there just to see what other questions you have.
Thank you for that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're looking for a human resources professional. I'm here. Just
Absolutely.
Might as well just plug myself every once in a while. So I know we're cutting short on time right now. So if there are any questions from anyone on Facebook or any questions from anyone in the on the Zoom, please drop your questions in the chat. And make sure, if you're on Zoom, if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, please drop your business contact information in the chat, and we'll also add that to the directory that Austin is creating. Right, Austin? Okay, thanks.
I just wanted to throw this out there, Rhonda, take a quick second. I know we may not have the time today to talk about this, but I'd like for you gentlemen to jump back on a Zoom call, even if I'm sponsoring a Zoom call or Brother Austin Thompson is, I want you guys to tell the whole story so that when somebody is watching this, they're not consumed by you made it. Tell them all the struggles that you went through.
Mhm.
Tell them all the bumps and the bruises and the, getting turned down at the bank for a loan, and tell them the whole thing. Tell them how your credit used to be bad. I know I can tell that story.
Mhm.
Please, you do such a justice by painting a full picture. And I applaud you, gentlemen, because you made it and you continue to make it and you keep striving. But teach some of these younger brothers that it ain't all lollipops and rainbows. Like you had to bust your hump to get where you are.
Well, that's part of your invite to the Rose Solo show for your interview. So that would be part of it, right? But I totally agree. Coming on the panel and just telling the real story to let everyone know that, we weren't just gifted with this. You had to work to attain what you've achieved. So I think that's a great point. Austin, get to work. And the Rose
yeah.
Solo show invites will be coming out after this. That's why I keep on plugging, put your contact information in the chat. There's a method to my madness. But one more thing, because we were talking about real estate, and thank you, Mr. Richmond. Congratulations on your structure. I look forward to you inviting us to the opening. I keep plugging all this stuff. But a question for you, Ms. Chen, before we go regarding real estate again, and just about understanding what's least risky, because people are listening now. I hear a lot of people talking about Airbnbs, especially in my Caribbean community, and being from Jamaica. I know a few people who have started investing in Airbnbs, and you can come to my Airbnb. And I'm like, well, I don't come to your Airbnb at my own house, but but you hear that a lot, happening. So when you're speaking to someone and they're starting to invest and they're thinking about real estate, what would you say to them is less riskier option for them to build wealth? Would it be residential property or commercial property?
That's a good one there, residential or commercial. First off, I would say they, depending on their mindset, they be open to both. But of course, you need to do one before the other. We've had people come in from New York when COVID hit. And by the way, we started when COVID started. And just goes to show you, business wasn't hurting, the economy wasn't hurting, even though we were. So if somebody's coming in like these people we got from New York, they came here with millions of dollars.
Right.
And they didn't know what to do with it. And so we first got them a condo right there in Atlanta, so that they could stay here, but when they're not here, they can rent it out Airbnb style. Once they got that down, now we open them up to different warehouses and different commercial addresses where they can start a business, buy an existing business, whatever, and invest their money in something that's going to work for them. And so a lot of people got out of New York selling their you remember the brownstones on the Cosby Show and all of that? They took the couple $1 million and they invested it here in Atlanta, Georgia, and letting it work for them. They don't have to go to work every day. It can work, live off the interest. And so that's that education piece I was talking about. We sit down and help people realize whether they want to purchase a home, invest in a home. So we do investments. We get 10 calls a day for people who want investments. And so we got people right now that call up and say, I got it today. I only have $50,000. What can I do? And y'all know the market has kind of went up a bit. So Atlanta's not as cheap as it used to be, but you still can buy something for a low price, put some work into it, fix it up, maybe collab like the brother was saying, Brother Samuel, collab with somebody, take your 50,000, put with another 50,000 and go buy that $100,000 condo, townhouse, whatever, and go over there and push your sleeves up and sweep them floors, paint the walls, put up some, I almost said paneling. That's how old I am. I almost said paneling. Don't laugh at me. Put up some nice fixtures and put something into your property and get some renters in there. Now you got an income. You got a flow. So we just like to teach people, and that's why we do what we do. We never did real estate for the money. That's the piece I didn't get to tell. We worked for free for some years, shadowing a luxury real estate broker. We used to just want to be around it and learn. And that's the missing piece. Everybody is out for a dollar or put something in their pocket or spend this or spend that. Nobody's ever taken the time to just learn. What happened to the internships where you go and learn from the best, but you don't get paid? Whatever happened to that? We're in that microwave era where everybody wants it right now, right this second. We need to take just a step back and learn something. Stop doing business and do some business, and you do that through education and learning and on-the-job training and whatever happened to taking trades. And so all these things now, people are calling us for education, and we're teaching them about investment properties. We have commercial property buildings in Atlanta that people can buy and rent out. You can lease one and rent it out. This is the Airbnb. Everybody should own something here. I call my friends up all the time. And I tell them, stop spending and buy something. That is the bottom line. If you really want to move the ball forward in your family, your heritage, your history, you need to own something.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to give everyone up because, well, one quick question, because I had it written down and we've mentioned entrepreneurship before. So before I give you your final, words, do any of your organizations offer entrepreneurship to individuals? Dr. Malcolm?
Yeah, so we accept, we have intakes throughout the year where we accept new applicants to become stakeholder businesses, right? And we really accept them at every stage, right? So you can be at the beginning where it's just the back of a napkin idea, all the way up to, businesses doing millions of dollars around the country and around the world. We have services and resources for all of them across the spectrum. So we will be having our next intake at the top of the year in the spring, I would say maybe around January, February. So you can go to russellcenter.org to just be updated on the calendar. And then between now and then, throughout for the rest of the year, we do have, events and programs that are open to the public. And we're finalizing our calendar for the remainder of the year, and that will be publicized via the website as well. So get on our mailing list. There's a whole lot of stuff going on at the Russell Center. So definitely a place where you want to be in the loop if you are a Black entrepreneur.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Rose?
Yes, so entrepreneurship, yes, so
Internship.
I'm sorry?
Internship.
Internship.
Yeah.
Well, we do have internships that we offer at the New Black Wall Street Market. As a matter of fact, we have 2 young ladies who are going to be helping us with social media and some of our digital properties. And we actually have some students from Arabia Mountain High School that we have been employing to assist us with various social media tasks and just, things that they can do to offer their skills and talents to us as well. We also, Mr. Allen also owns Allen Entrepreneurial Institute, which came actually before the New Black Wall Street Market, and where he trains in entrepreneurs internationally as a part of the Yali Fellows, which is the Young African Leaders Initiative. And I believe, Brother Thompson, you were there when we had them there for the, go ahead.
I want you to talk a little bit about that, because I was very impressed when I was there. Very impressed. And I want you to talk a little bit about that. Thank you.
Yeah, it was started by Nelson Mandela and adopted by the Obama administration, and Mr. Allen supports it by bringing about 25 to 35 young African leaders, and all of them are entrepreneurs, and he brings them to tour his campus. They stay in his hotel, and they visit the mansion that he owns as well. If any of you are familiar with the show Greenleaf, the mansion that they live in, Mr. Allen owns that as well. So he actually rented that out for them to film the show there. But the leaders come over from Africa. They have represented, 35 different countries. There were about 18 different countries at the town hall that you came to, Austin. But every year he brings them and they actually do pop-up shops. They do entrepreneur trainings. We do an entrepreneur's challenge with them. So we actually have a space designated inside the market for them to create a pop-up shop where they can sell things. And that pop-up shop is actually still open. So they get a chance to really experience entrepreneurship firsthand, in addition to the things they're already doing. And all of these young kids are between the ages of probably 18 and maybe 25. I mean, super young, but they are extremely bright and extremely intelligent. So that's one of the crown jewels, if you will, of Mr. Allen's legacy. And that happens every single year they come over. So there's quite a bit going on with that. And we're actually in the process of further developing our internship program. We also have another space inside in Stonecrest, which is it's called the Startup Factory. And that actually came before the new Black Wall Street Market, where basically it's sort of a shared space where you can have meetings, you got free Wi-Fi, you can come in and have meetings, have business meetings, have trainings, and a variety of different things there at the Startup Factory as well. So definitely have space for interns for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Mr. Richmond, internship. Do you have internship programs up there at Nvestfit?
Yes, there's one. We have a position for one intern, and we did partner just with my place on the board with GGC, Georgia Gwinnett College. We are working through them to try to fill that position, just because it gives the children an opportunity, or children, my gosh, thinking about kids, gives the students an opportunity to get college credit. But we're open to relationships with other schools and as well. So
Awesome, thank you.
thank you.
And lastly, you did mention it, you were the last person to mention it. Mr. Hamm, do you offer internship programs with your organization?
Sure do. I'm not doing a shameless plug, but I have another business, web design business. And my neighbor who was building a website for came to me and said, hey, my son is starting a business. Can you talk to him? And so I went over there and talked to the son. Just so happens they're having a business meeting. It was her son and 3 other of his friends. And after talking to them, they got me before I got to my car and said, hey, we've been looking for a mentor. Would you mentor us? And so I had been looking for, kids to intern. When I say kids, I mean college age. And so, yeah, I mentored these guys who had their own app, their own business model, everything. I taught them principles of my business to help them in their business and to grow each one of them through their gifts and talents. And, I have to say, much due respect to those guys. They, one of them right now is with us over here at eXp Realty and learning. And they're just hungry. And so, yes, we do have place, and we partnered up with Gwinnett College as well. Shout out to Gwinnett College. They send us students every so often, and we help them and help mentor them. So yeah, I think it's the way to go.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And before, let me just say thank you again, Austin, Councilman, for inviting me to moderate this panel of such you're movers and shakers within our community. And we thank you for all that you're doing to serve our community and all that you're doing to build wealth within our community, and to create legacies for our children. But I just wanted to give you your final words. I'll start with Malcolm first, and then I'll just move as I see them. Final words, something maybe we didn't cover, something that's at the top of your head that you didn't say and that you want us to know, anything.
Yeah, so I really just want to kind of speak to the power and potential of what just happened on this call, right? Because when we're talking about the Black economy, talking about closing the wealth gap, there is no one solution that's going to get us there, right? Entrepreneurship is a big piece of that, but so is real estate, so is financial education, and above all, it's community, right? So it's all of those components, but the relationships between them and the relationships between us all, that's going to help us elevate. It's going to help us share knowledge, share ideas, share resources, and really expose us all to increased opportunities. So I hope to see more and more opportunities for connection and collaboration and just working together and moving towards a common goal. I think that's what's most important in my mind.
Thank you, Malcolm. Mr. Richmond, final words, final thoughts.
I second Malcolm. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you for the opportunity. This is great. I know it's very difficult to get everything out that you want to say in such a short window of time, but I'm looking forward to being on your show and having an opportunity to learn more about you and share some of the failures that led to the successes over time with your audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Can y'all still hear me? Perfect. My screen just went crazy on me. Mr. Rose.
Yes, so if you have not visited the New Black Wall Street Market, I encourage you to do so. It is a beautiful facility.
Give them the address, because I have the address that I was going to give, but go ahead since you said that. Give the address.
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
It's 8109 Mall Parkway in Stonecrest, Georgia. It's across from the mall in the old Target building. Pretty easy to find, and if you Google it, it'll come up pretty prominently. But I just want to encourage everyone, even if I know all of us are business owners here, consider maybe having a satellite office at the New Black Wall Street Market. What better way to touch your people in real time and face to face and be able to help, train them, offer services, all of that. We have space available, and we'll definitely work with you. If you have events coming up, consider having them at the New Black Wall Street Market. We've got plenty of space. We will curate the event for you. Or if you just want to take a personal tour, let me know. I'll guide you through the place myself. You know what I mean? Just sort of a plug for the building itself, because when we have, and just a point about support, when we have someone like Mr. Allen, who has taken his own personal money and put his stake in the ground on behalf of his people and on behalf of us all, we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to that person to sort of pay homage in a way just by supporting it, finding what we can do to support it. We do have an online store that's on our website, nbwsm.com. We don't have a huge number of products on that, but it is growing, and we're trying to develop also another arm of of our internship program as well as for business mentorship. So all of us being business owners, we would love to be a conduit to provide mentees for you all as mentors as well. So just wanted to just also impress upon each and every one of us, in addition to the wonderful things we've heard tonight, is that we have to do this together, period, point blank. We've got to do it together. We've got to do it for one another. We've got to do it with one another, and we just have to do it together. So however that looks, we owe it to ourselves to make sure we make alliances, and this is a great start to that. I would love to see this entire group that's on here now, in addition to several others, come to the market for an event to where we can expand this conversation and get it into the ears of many more people. But thank you finally for this opportunity.
Thank you. And Mr. Hamm, last but not least.
Alrighty. I want to encourage that one person listening that thinks they can't own a home. If you've had low income, you don't understand generational wealth, you got poor credit history, you have a fear of owning, you're complacent, your mindset is just off, maybe you had a bankruptcy, an eviction, maybe even had a felony. I want to encourage you to not be ignorant, don't be lazy, call us, call Team Hamm, and just talk to us. We won't charge you to have a conversation. We'll gladly jump on Zoom with you or a phone call. But here's just a simple thing. Pay your light bill on time. Pay your water bill on time. Pay your cable on time. Why? Because now they judge you based on your credit history on things just like that. Your insurance for your car is based off of your credit now. Everything is off your credit. So call us. We're not necessarily credit specialists, but we know a little something. I know I do, because I had bad credit at one time. And if you just want a piece of the American dream, which we all have heard over years and years, you too could own a home or have an investment property. And we're here to help you and advise you and get you to the promised land. We're here till you got your keys in your hand and you closed on your property. Mark and Shanna Hamm with eXp Realty, affectionately known as Team Hamm or Team Hamm Group. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I thank you again, Austin, for inviting me to moderate this conversation. It was an absolute honor having this discussion with you, Kings. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. I look forward to having each of you on my show and learning more and sharing your story with our community. In closing, I'm Rose Solo. I am the Phoenix, and you can reach out to me. I always tell everyone to be fearless in the pursuit of what sets their soul on fire. So I hope everyone listening and everyone that will see this conversation after will be inspired and encouraged to do more, to learn more, and to educate our community and continue to create a legacy for our community. Thank you, Austin. I turn it over to you. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making me a part of this conversation. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. And did your daughter do her homework?
She did her homework. She did her homework. She's a good one. She's a good one. She did her homework. She's just looking at me now. It's like, bedtime. And so we have to do our little thing. So she's looking at me like, how much longer are you going to be? But yes, thank you. She did her homework, but I appreciate that. I did need your belt. I did need your belt.
Right. I want to thank you, Rose Solo, Rhonda. I really appreciate all that you do in our community. When I was putting part 1 and 2 together, I sat and I put my outline together and I thought of all the participants that would be critical to the part 1 discussion, the part 2 discussion. Brother Dr. Muhammad said something so important and poignant. There is no one solution. No one solution. And when we look at what the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship is doing, and I implore you all, just as you were given an invitation to go and visit the new Black Wall Street Market, also take a tour at Rice, and the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship. They're actually, downtown Atlanta. And it's a beautiful site, just like New Black Wall Street Market, but definitely take a tour there. There's no one solution. I remember when I was at the New Black Wall Street Market town hall, there's one student, one of the entrepreneurs from Congo Kinshasa. She made a statement that stuck with me. We often look at success as something white people do. I don't know if you remember that, Mr. Rose.
I do.
You do. And I wrote it down. We often look at success as something white people do. Because for so long, we as African people, as Black people, have been taught that we can't grow success as other groups. But in actuality, if we really understood the power we had within us, we would do so much better. In our communities, when we talk about the circulation of the Black dollar, 6 hours in comparison to the others, there's so much that we can do in order to prolong the circulation of that Black dollar in our communities with Black-owned businesses. What we had here tonight was a really good critical analysis and discussion on the many ways in which we can grow the Black economy. And going back to what Dr. Muhammad said, there's no one way. When I thought about real estate, I thought about the Hamm Group, because I knew they would be able to bring that discussion from the real estate perspective. I thought about Samuel Richmond, because I've known Samuel, just like I've known Mr. Hamm for a long time. And I've seen their evolution as individuals, as entrepreneurs. And I know they would bring the value to the discussion. I thought of New Black Wall Street Market because I've been following them. We talk about the Allen Entrepreneur Institute. I've done stuff there at the Allen Entrepreneur Institute before that market was created. So I knew I wanted to bring them on. I thought about Rice, the Russell Innovation Center. I knew Jay Bailey wasn't going to be available. I know Jay is like, he's all over the place. He needs to be a triplet because he's all over the place. But I knew I was going to get somebody from Rice to be on this call tonight. I was excited to have that as well. And then I thought about the Freedom Georgia Initiative and the power of 19 individuals who did not know each other, but they knew of each other. And they decided to pool their resources and collaborate on purchasing 100 acres of land in Toomsburg, Georgia. And these are the things that when we talk about how we grow our Black economy, is reaching out to people who are of like-minded individuals and collaborating on things. We don't have to be individuals, collaborating on things, right? I like what I heard today. We talked about having a vision and the mindset, right? Looking at doing your homework, the basic things, right? Completing homework. Samuel talked about that, right? How am I going to have you being the CEO or running my business and you don't want to finish your homework? There is a speech out there. I don't know if many of you heard of Admiral McCraven, right? That's right. Admiral McCraven led the attack on Osama bin Laden's compound, right? He's the head of SEAL Team 6, right? He has a speech. It's called "Make Your Bed." You're looking, before you can do the more complex things in life, learn to make your bed. It's so simple, right? It's a very poignant speech because you don't think about these things because we're all looking at the big picture, but the simple things that's before us, we don't do that well, but we want to take on the monumental tasks. But make your bed. A great speech. I look it up on YouTube. And trust me, you'll be inspired by it. The Black Business Directory, after tonight, I am going to be looking at several individuals that I will be bringing together. I would love to include Brother Muhammad and your team, Brother Rose, your team, Samuel, Mark, Rhonda, everybody who's on this. I even would like to involve, the Freedom Georgia Initiative and our sister Renee Walters on the best way to go forward in building that Black business directory, because we need it. We need in order to build our economy and build our local economies, we need that. The other thing is involving our Black banks. How can we leverage effectively the Black banks that are in our community? What are they doing for us? How can they help us, in getting access to capital that we need? What is it we need to do before we seek access to capital? Like Mr. Hamm said, taking care of our credit, right? Paying our light bill, paying our water bill, and so on and so forth before we go seeking these resources. So I'm kind of disappointed I wasn't able to get one on the call tonight, but it's okay. We're looking forward to doing that. The other thing is, as with New Black Wall Street Market and having the programs with those African entrepreneurs, looking at ways in which we can engage African entrepreneurs in Africa, in growing our economy and building wealth and narrowing the wealth gap. There are opportunities on the African continent that's being filled by everybody else except us. We have scientists, we have engineers, we have mathematicians, we have technologists, we have civil engineers, we have construction managers, we have financial analysts. We have people in every segment that's being filled on the continent, and that's not including us, So looking at the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and trying to understand if African countries are doing trade, it's a free trade area, they're doing trade between each other, but how can we improve trade, or how can we grow trade between Africans here and Africans on the continent? So these are some of the things that I'll be looking into beyond tonight, because, I know that there's great potential in our community, but potential is not good if it's at rest, and we have to move it forward. The thing is, we started, or we continue the discussion tonight but we're going to follow up this discussion with action plans on how we can collaborate, how we can get Rice and New Black Wall Street Market, Nvestfit, the Hamm Group, and other groups, and how we can find ways to collaborate and build and grow wealth in our communities. It's important for us, you know, as we move forward and do something for the next generation. So I want to thank Rhonda Solomon for moderating the panel tonight. Rose Solo, definitely take the opportunity to be interviewed on her platform. She is great. She has access to a massive Caribbean platform. And for those of you who are looking to grow your influence in the Caribbean community, that's a wonderful gateway for you. I want to thank Mr. Todd Rose, New Black Wall Street Market. Thank you, Todd, for being on the panel tonight. I want to thank New Black Wall Street Market also for their representation. Mr. Samuel Richmond, thank you so much. You know, always a great friend, always there, you know, whenever I call on him, and he knows he can call on me. Doing great things in the financial space, and now developing his own shared office space location. Wish it was in Lawrenceville, but he's out there in Cobb County. It's okay. You know,
Coming soon.
Yeah.
You get into existence.
Oh, okay. I will. You know, I'm always excited to see the things he's doing. Mr. Marc Hamm, known him a long time as well. Actually, he helped me build my very first website. Well, actually, my second website. The first one I built was outdated, and he took over from me from there. He's still managing my websites to this day. So thank you, Mark. Dr. Malcolm Muhammad, it's a pleasure to meet you as well for the first time as well as with Todd Rose. I look forward to growing a fruitful relationship with you two gentlemen and with the organizations you represent. Our dear sister, Renee Walters of the Freedom Georgia Initiative was not able to join us tonight, but, you know, we'll definitely see if there's an opportunity for us to do like a bus trip down to Toonsboro, Georgia. I think that would be great. That's something that I really wanted to discuss with her tonight, but I'm in communication with her and her team, and I'm going to see if we can do like a bus outing down there, because it'll be great for us to visit and see what they're doing down there. I want to thank all the folks that joined us on Facebook tonight. Thank those who joined us on the call tonight on Zoom. Definitely look out for the follow-up meetings and conversations that will transpire after tonight. This is definitely, we celebrate National Black Business Achievement, not just in the month of August, but we celebrate that 12 months out of the year, 365 days a year, right? Because that's what we do. So thank you all again. Thank you so much. I am so much in appreciation of all of you for making this happen. And we couldn't do that without you. So God bless you all. Wish you all the best, much success. And I definitely will be following up with all of you beyond this call. So have a great evening. Thank you again.
Thank you. I'll be following up with you guys, Brother Malcolm and Brother Samuel and Brother Todd. I'll be looking out for y'all. And Rosolo, let's do a show.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Thanks, y'all.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Somebody
Great evening,
did
everyone.
ask a question. Helen asked a question.
I sent her the information for Todd.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right. Good evening. Thank you.
Evening.
I see that, and there's also the mentoring the youth. I'll get in contact with you, Mr. Rose.
Yeah.
Okay, please do. Please do.
So will you be there? Are you there all the time? Like, are you there on the weekend? Cut the recording.
Oh, yeah. Let me stop the recording.
Being nosy.
I'm not there every weekend. But as you can imagine, it can be, as in my position, I'm responsible for like taking pictures, video, and all of that kind of stuff. So the majority of the activity that